Hey Falcons, welcome to the Frez Bakery. Let's get to giving some customers some sweet treats. Hi Mrs. Mitchell and Mrs. White, what brings you into the bakery today? We would like to order a pie cut in half. That means I will have to partition the pie into 2 pieces. Coming right up, let's head to the kitchen. Okay bakers, we have our first order. We need to bake a pie that is partitioned in half. Let's start by baking one whole pie. We know this is a whole pie because it is not partitioned yet. It is not divided or cut into different pieces. It is one whole. Let's divide it in half now. Looks like our first order of the day is ready to go. Order up. Here's your pie. What do you think? Wow, that looks yummy. The halves are pretty big though for us to eat all by ourselves. Maybe we can somehow have the pie cut into smaller pieces. If you would like smaller pieces, we can do that. I'll bring it back to the kitchen and see what the other bakers think we should do. Alrighty, other bakers, our customers think the halves are too big. What can we do to make the pieces smaller for them? That's right, we could divide the shape into fourths. Now that there are more pieces, the pieces are smaller. We made the pieces smaller by partitioning fourths. Is this better? This is much better. Now we even have more pieces to share. Did someone say share? It sounds like the first grade teachers have a bit of a sweet tooth. It's a good thing the pie is partitioned into 4 pieces now. Yum, if only the pieces were bigger. The pieces were bigger when they were cut in half. Then Mrs. Mitchell and Mrs. White decided to cut the pie into fourths. When you have more pieces, the pieces get smaller. That's why they aren't as big as they were before when they were halves. That makes sense. I have a new order to place. That's great. What would you like? I would like a cake that has enough pieces for all 4 of us to eat together. How should I cut the cake so that there are enough pieces for 4 people? Let's head to the kitchen to figure it out. Let's start by baking a whole cake first. Here it is, 1 whole cake. Now, how can we cut it for 4 people? We can cut it into fourths so that it has 4 pieces. A great baker always checks over their work to make sure their customer will be happy. Just like when we are writing or doing our math, we always want to make sure we are checking over our work so that it is high quality. So since we are bakers today, we are going to make sure that our customers are happy by checking over our work. Let's count to make sure there are exactly 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Let's go show them and see if they like it. That looks perfect. I would like to add another order too. I would like another cake cut in half this time for Mrs. Hafner and Miss Owen. Great, I'll be right back. Now we need another cake. This time it's cut in half. As always, we're starting with our whole cake. Then we cut it in half. Let's bring it out and see what they think. Here's the other cake. Wow, I'm noticing that the cake cut in half has bigger pieces. Yes, we can compare the size of the pieces of the different cakes. The halves are bigger because there are less pieces needed to make a whole. That sounds like the opposite of what we were talking about earlier when we said that the fourths are smaller because it takes more pieces to make a whole, and now the halves are bigger because there are less pieces needed to make a whole. I agree. I'm glad you are all happy with your orders. Now it's time for you to dig into your desserts and see the awesome work our first grade chefs can do. Bye! We can't wait to see what you cook up today on Seesaw. On Seesaw today, you have 2 activities. So your activities are 2 pages. The first page says, Miss Wright bought this pie from the store. It is already cut in half. At dinner, 4 people want to eat pie. Describe what will happen to the pieces of pie if it is cut into fourths. So you are going to use your thinking in words to describe what will happen when this pie is cut for 4 people into fourths. Remember to write in complete sentences. You can also show your work by cutting the pie that you see on the screen into fourths. The next page says, Miss Peterson and Mrs. Johnson are both eating a sandwich. Miss Peterson cuts her sandwich into fourths. Mrs. Johnson cuts her sandwich into halves. Who will have more pieces? Prove using the picture and explain your answer. So Mrs. Peterson's sandwich is first, and she cut her sandwich into fourths. You are going to draw on her sandwich to cut it into fourths. Then Mrs. Johnson cuts her sandwich into halves, so you are going to draw on her sandwich and cut it into halves. And then you are going to explain your thinking on the 2 lines below about who will have more pieces. Remember to prove it using your pictures and explaining your answer. We can't wait to see all of the awesome partitioning that you do.